It's the Con Guy Prep Show here on the Popcorn Talk Network this week. The amazing Hawaii cons, the amazing Vegas cons, the whole crew is here. We got a full house this week on the Con Guy Prep Show.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movie.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Star Trek's coming out in just a few weeks. This is awesome.
Yes. I'm really relieved that it no longer looks like Too Trek, Too Furious. You know what I mean? Like that first trailer really did not do it justice. And I was like, Simon Pegg wrote this movie. This is not the movie he wrote. I'm quite positive.
Yeah.
Welcome to this week of the Con Guy Comic-Con Prep Show here on the Popcorn Talk Network. We are so excited. Everybody's back.
Yeah, we finally have all four again.
I know. Everybody's been gallivanting around the world. Emma, Alana, so glad to have you guys.
We're all four at the table. Four makes five. Of course.
I'm your host, Jim. I am from The Con Guy. I'm the managing editor for theconguy.com. You can find me at Con Guy Jim. You can also find us at theconguy.com. And we do have some special guests today with us, but let's go ahead around the table and introduce ourselves.
I'm Derek Sams, a contributor to theconguy.com, and you can find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek.
And I'm Emma Fyffe. I am one of the hosts here on the Con Guy Show. I'm also the producer and lead host of Love and Justice, a Serious Sailor Moon podcast. I host at many shows at our sister network here, AfterBuzz TV, as well as numerous Twitch shows at Blockade Studios and DR1 Racing. And you can follow me on Twitter at Emma Fyffe.
I'm Elena Jordan. I'm one of the hosts here for Popcorn Talk Network, also for AfterBuzz TV. You can find me on Twitter at Elena Jordan and on Instagram at That Elena Jordan Girl.
I'm Luke Cheeseman. I'm also with the Con Guy, one of the founding members and social media director. You can find me at Twitter at ConGuyLuke.
And then our special guest this week.
Yay! Hi, my name is Lora Ivanova. I am the founder and executive producer of ScareLA, the world's first convention dedicated to Halloween, and you can find us also on Twitter at Scare Los Angeles.
And Scare Los Angeles is happening this summer. We're going to be talking about that the last part of the show. I wore my Halloween shirt specially for today.
I know,
was
it's
really
very
excited.
appropriate.
Yeah.
You made my day.
I was going to say, the Halloween maze was my favorite maze of Halloween Horror Nights
was
last
amazing.
year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was
So-
interesting.
I mean, it's over now, so I'm not spoiling anything. But guys, I went into the last room and I was like, this is the end of my life now. I'm never going to get out of here.
Is that the mirrors of Michael?
The mirrors.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Just everywhere.
It was so good. And the reason why it's appropriate for ScareLA, because you guys had the producers from Universal Studios that put that maze together. And then they did this awesome thing. Can you tell us a little bit about the presentation that they did last year? About the Halloween and the history of Halloween and all that?
They really kind of dove into their concept behind the maze. So what's great about creators like of this caliber coming to ScareLA and meeting their fans is that the fans not only get the chance to experience what they create during the Halloween season, but they actually understand now what goes into the production. So what the inspiration was, how far back in time they go, and how deep they really dive into the content that they are recreating in real life. So it's really been one of the most popular, actually, panels that we always have. We've had them since the first year, and we're actually having them return back in August to reveal whatever their 2016 scary plans are.
I can't wait. Can't wait to talk to you a little bit more about that. So we had a few things happening here with the folks here on the podcast recently. I know that, Elena, you celebrated a birthday just a couple weeks ago.
I did.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And then our man here to the side here, Derek, had a little bit of something happen.
Just a little bit. Yeah, I got engaged on Sunday.
What?
Yeah. Yay.
Nerds can get girls
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Isn't that awesome? All right.
I feel like nerds actually have a greater chance of getting girls nowadays.
Oh, I know.
I just, I feel like now,
work for me.
I feel like if today you're like, I don't know what Batman is, people are like, get out.
Society has changed a bit.
It has. The nerds won, guys. I mean, I have friends that make money playing Dungeons and Dragons, so
nice.
it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
So many themed weddings.
Yes.
So excited.
I know. I know. the rehearsal dinner, possibly.
Oh, we talked about ideas of cosplay at a rehearsal dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got
it's hard
some
to
nerdy
resist.
sides too, right?
She does. Well, we bonded early on over a love of Battlestar Galactica. I mean,
That's
Yeah.
romantic.
You make good decisions.
You know it's gonna work. You know it's gonna work. And the ladies here, you have both been off all over the place. Tell
Yeah.
what's been going on with you.
Well, I was just in Dallas last weekend for ACON, which is the longest consecutive running anime convention in the United States.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And then 2 weeks before that, of course, Elena and I were both in Hawaii for Amazing Hawaii Comic
We're gonna
Con.
be talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
that a little bit
Yeah.
later. All right. So Derek, why don't you just jump in real quick and
All right.
let's go through the bulletin board.
we
What's
got a
coming
few
up?
things. All right, first off, Wizard World, Sacramento. That's June 17th through 19th. Just a couple weeks away. Has anybody here been to that?
No.
The Wizard conventions are really growing, though. We're becoming
Yeah.
something pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's, a few hours away. Maybe we can send somebody. Heroes Con Charlotte, also June 17th and 19th. That started in 1982. It's comics first, and it's family friendly.
Right. It's a big convention there in the
It
South,
is,
you know.
yeah.
So if I was over there, I have some family, like I said before, in South Carolina. I'm encouraging them to go to that.
Yeah, it's really popular with comic artists too. Like I know there were people that we were looking at to book for Vegas, which is the same weekend.
Yep.
And I was
Yeah.
like, they're already doing Heroes Con. So
Yeah. Well, that's the next thing on the list. Amazing Las Vegas Con is June 18th to 19th.
yes.
that same
17th
weekend,
through the
so you-
19th, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got,
it's
I
all
see.
good.
Sorry.
You got another day
I
to
know.
con, more
We
than we
do,
thought.
exactly.
Yay! So you guys are both going to that one?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be asking you questions.
Yes.
Obviously. All right. Then coming up, Florida SuperCon in Miami, July 1st through 4th, with William Shatner, Carl Urban, Michael Kudlitz.
Abraham from Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah. Marina Baccarin.
You know her.
I
Yeah.
love her.
I never know if I'm saying her name right, but yeah.
And that's just a few.
Oh, yeah, I know who she is.
This is a great big con that is happening down there. That their list of guests is just super big. Every week we try to spotlight some of the, like maybe the larger, some of the ones that have some cultural weight to them. And this one is really growing fast. So I'd like to get down there to that one, but I'm not going to get there.
Yeah, it's a lot harder for us to get to Florida than to San Diego. But that's a great lineup. All right, then there's a Star Wars celebration in England, July 15th to 17th, which is completely sold out.
Completely sold out, yeah. That
Yeah,
stinks.
I've still got some friends in the UK. Maybe I can see if they'll get if any of them got in. Probably not.
We'll see if we're good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. They can be your spy on the inside.
Right.
Tell you all
And
about it.
Then July 21st to 24th. I mean, there's a little thing happening. That's San Diego Comic Con,
Yeah.
or as we could call it, the Big Con or the Long Con or Nerd Prom, which
Nerd prom.
Yeah. Well, you haven't heard that one?
No.
Oh yeah,
No.
that's
My
good.
favorite.
Not in regards to San Diego. In terms of Labyrinth of Jareth, all the time.
Oh,
That's
well, okay.
absolutely what I
That's
call
probably
it. Is
more
Nerd
fitting
Prom,
right there,
but,
yeah.
But I mean, there's
That's
a lot of
more like Nerd Homecoming.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
San Diego's,
Nerd Prom.
except they're in the wrong order because Labyrinth's not until August 6th and 7th this year.
Fair point.
But, or 6th,
anyway,
5th
that's
and
just-
6th. Ignore me. I'll get the dates right at some point,
Right.
you guys.
You can look at my list if you need
Perfect,
to.
perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just like 6 weeks away now.
Yeah.
So, which we'll talk a little about the
6-week challenge.
6-week fitness challenge. Yeah. And then
Oh.
ScareLA, Season of the Witch, is in Pasadena, August 6th and 7th.
That's right.
And this is how many years have you guys been in Pasadena?
This is our second year at Pasadena, but it's the 4th year we're doing the convention. So we're getting old.
I was there when you were downtown at the markets. What was it?
It was the LA Mart, yeah.
LA Mart. That was awesome too. It's a lot of fun. All right, so that's just a few of what's coming up. Is there anything? There's stuff coming up all over the place. I know like this coming weekend and the weekend after that, there's probably like 3 or 4 conventions.
I mean,
weekend.
the thing is that it's like we live in a time now where you can literally go to a convention any weekend.
Yeah.
They might be more genre conventions, like for example, this coming weekend, Anime Next is happening in Atlantic City. I think it's one of those East Coast nebulous, like if you're in the tri-state area, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, come to this convention kind of thing. And then I know Denver Comic Con is also happening the weekend of June 17th through 19th, which I have some friends that'll be at. So yeah, I mean, it's just like there's, if you want to go to a convention and you have the means to travel, you could literally go to one any weekend. Also, a big convention that's coming up, Anime Expo is coming up in Los Angeles over 4th of July weekend, as well as RTX, which is Rooster Teeth's big convention in Austin, Texas. So Rooster Teeth is a studio that does things like the Halo series, Red vs. Blue, and Ruby, and they've got all kinds of stuff. They have a new animation show called Camp that's doing really well. So It's big in the sort of online nerd community.
Well, that's awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into a little bit of the news of the week. But before we get into the burning issue that you want to talk about, something that I know. No, it was kind of cool. We just found out today, and we were talking about Suicide Squad, the movie. They have they announced some big plans for San Diego Comic-Con. Do you want to talk about any of that, or?
Yeah, they're going to be completely transforming the Hard Rock. They're doing a huge, basically a cosplay contest for Suicide Squad where you can win tickets to Comic-Con. They'll fly out, put up the
all
ultimate,
expenses paid. Yeah,
everything.
11 people will be winning that.
11 of the luckiest people in the world will be winning that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be absolutely incredible. So they have all of the information on the Suicide Squad website, and they just announced it.
We also have it on
pretty amazing.
theconguy.com right now. Yeah, it's really cool. Like, you get your best cosplay going. You pick somebody from the Suicide Squad, and the fans are going to choose what is the best cosplays, and then Warner Brothers and DC are going to send you out to San Diego, which is pretty great. And like you said, they're taking over the Hard Rock Hotel. They're going to have a great offsite there. They're taking over Hall H with the big Warner Brothers presentation. They're going to be signing on the floor, and we just heard from a friend. I don't know if I should reveal this. Jared Leto will be in costume as something else, walking the floor for a couple of days because he wants to participate at Comic-Con. So I guess we probably shouldn't have said that.
That's not surprising though. That happens a lot.
But it happens a lot.
Where we've
Yeah.
It
had
does
like
happen.
Matt Smith as Gumby walking around, Bryan Cranston as Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Or
with
Hugh
his
Jackman as Wolverine.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Well, you look just like him.
Bryan Cranston though with the Bryan Cranston mask, and then
Yeah.
pulling it off, and it's his own face. Like,
Yeah.
I think that was pretty impressive. So, I feel like Jared Leto will probably still be incognito.
That's good. We saw a Bryan Cranston mask recently. Where was that?
Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah, what was that? That was some guy.
Yeah, they have like these real realistic ones. They had a couple different ones, but it's weird how like realistic, like this guy is like looking at you. It's like totally creepy. But yeah, in Las Vegas Boulevard, they're
that
really
one
up in their game.
freaked me out.
They're gonna be a new little cosplay thing going on eventually.
Yeah, we'll talk about Vegas in just a second. So, Derek, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of a controversy kind of ripping through the comics world. Let's just go ahead and get this one out of the way. What is the controversy?
Well, I don't know if you guys heard, but apparently Captain America has been working for Hydra the whole time. You also might not have heard this, but Cruella de Vil is actually an undercover operative for PETA.
PETA,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
Let's see, what else? Romeo, he goes to Juliet's grave and tells her he was gay all along. Yeah, and Zack Snyder actually works for Marvel. He's taking down DC from the inside. In the most complicated way possible.
Yeah.
Now that one you might actually believe.
Yeah. So what is it that happened with Captain America this past week?
Well, they came out with a new
this
issue.
Past few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, the new issue, Captain America, Steve Rogers, #1. It's kind of taking things in a new direction, and they apparently have been putting this in for the last maybe year and a half, building up to it, and they'd been planning it for a little while. But yeah, at the very last page of the issue is him walking up to a guy and saying, "Hail Hydra." And they've come out with these statements saying it's not mind control, it's not a weird memory wipe, it is really him. And they're trying to expect us to believe that this has been going on for 75 years. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what take they're doing. If this is like an alternate story or...
All the angry tweets are just what crack me up because so many people are linking, because they link Hydra to Nazis.
Yep.
And so they're saying, this whole time, Captain America, our one beacon, our one representative of our nation, was a Nazi the whole time. And they're like, no, that's not, calm down. And everyone's like, we do not believe anything you say about this, people who actually made this.
Yeah.
So
It's a comic book. It's going to work itself out. They're not going to recreate the Nazi Captain America. That's not going to stay.
Gonna happen.
No, of course not. This is obviously a lead up to an interesting plot wherein he's infiltrating Hydra or something. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Psych out.
I'm
It's
sorry.
always a psych out.
Yeah.
It needs to be something. I mean...
Especially with Marvel coming out saying things like, it's not mind control, it's not like a fake clone, like it's the real deal. Like,
Yeah.
you know. It's,
Like the showrunners of Game of Thrones... all last year saying Jon Snow is definitely dead.
definitely dead. Yeah.
Spoiler
Sorry,
alert,
can I say
spoiler
that?
alert, spoiler
Spoilers.
alert.
Yeah.
He's not dead. Not anymore.
Not watched.
That was an immediate after that spoiler alert.
Well, the Captain America thing, it could just all be a dream. Maybe that's when he's in his coma.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe.
That's
there's always
totally
time
legit.
travel.
Still, I think it's
they
cheap
can
and
do
ridiculous,
anything these
personally.
days.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chris Evans tweeted about it and just did a hashtag "Say It Ain't So."
Yeah.
which was kind of a way to be neutral and just have fun with it. But
Yeah.
Stan Lee kind of gave his approval.
He thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, it's a hell of a clever idea."
Yep.
Which is not how he talks. It's more like, "It's a hell of a clever idea."
Oh, that was really good.
Oh, thank you.
It's a good
But you know, I
story.
do think Stan Lee is just a very, very nice guy. So he's probably going to put his stamp of approval on, and not talk down about Marvel.
Yeah,
anyway,
I actually completely agree with
Yeah.
that statement.
Yeah. So, there's some other news that we're going to jump into here. Wizard World, which we talked about a little bit earlier, and Crypt TV, which is Eli Roth's outfit. Crypt TV is basically a collection of horror movies, and they have launched an 8-city video showcase with Wizard events, with all the Wizard events around the country. So, like most of the Wizard events coming up we've already passed Philadelphia, but Sacramento, Columbus, Chicago, Richmond, Austin, Tulsa, Pittsburgh. You're going to see some kind of big presentation from Eli Roth and Crypt TV, and it sounds like a pretty cool arrangement there. I haven't really gotten onto Crypt TV too much. Sometimes some of the Eli Roth stuff's a little bit not my style, even though I love Halloween. I love horror movies, but I don't know. Eli Roth he's a crazy, crazy guy, so I'm not really sure what they've got cooked up there.
I love Eli Roth.
Do you?
so, Yeah, I think that's awesome.
We're going to see him in just a few weeks. He's hosting Shark Week After Dark on Discovery
fun.
Channel.
Nice.
Yeah, they've already put out Jaws.
Yep, there you
Pretty
go.
excited about
I
that.
thought Shark Week After Dark was just called Jaws.
Is it back to a normal time of the year? Because remember, didn't they move it up like super early
Well,
last year?
last year they had it during Comic-Con week,
Yeah.
and then this year I think they're
Ew.
having it during 4th of July week. So
What? It's still early.
yeah, it used to be in August. I love Shark Week.
Don't they know that their entire demographic are the people that go to Comic-Con? You know
know.
what I mean?
Yeah.
The coolest thing was, like, what is it, 2 or 3 years ago, they had FinFest down in Hermosa Beach, and they had a surprise concert of Jimmy Buffett on the beach.
Whoa.
That's
I was like, it was
hysterical.
I had
awesome.
no
To
idea
kick
till
off,
after.
to
My
kick
dad was
off,
so pissed because
yeah.
he was in town and we totally could have gone. But
Oh, that'd have been great. So another thing that came out this week, New York Comic Con, which is the other giant Comic Con. We got San Diego on the West Coast, New York on the East Coast. New York Comic Con, they are having fan verification until June 13th. What that means is if you plan on buying tickets, they have not started selling tickets yet. You have to get on there and get basically a member ID. If you go to San Diego, they have member IDs there. It's fan verifications. And they're going to start apparently counting people differently this year. And have you heard about this? How, like, they, last year they said they had like 170,000 people attend the show. And it's a big show. It's a gigantic show, but they count differently than how San Diego does it. They count everybody every day is an entrance.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Well, I mean, as someone who works at a theme park, that makes sense. Because even if we had an annual pass holder come 3 days in a row, they'd get counted every single day. So it makes sense.
And San Diego said if they counted the same way, they would have had 300,000 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can, and it makes sense that they're kind of like evening out how they count. But it's kind of cool. If you do want to go to New York Comic Con, though, you have to get your fan verification by June 13th. And that's coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, that is just a few days from now.
I know, and we've been talking a little bit about Comic-Con HQ, the new streaming service that Comic-Con has launched. What's cool is we found out just last week that Mark Hamill has his own show on Comic-Con HQ. Have you guys heard about this?
I'm
Yes.
very excited about
It's so
this.
cool. He's going to be like collecting things. It's called, it's Mark Hamill's Pop Culture Quest. He's going to be basically it's collectibles and things, and he's going to be whatever interests Mark Hamill, and he is such a funny person.
Yeah.
He is, yeah. No, I love like the look on people's faces when they find out for the first time that he's the voice of the Joker.
I know.
I had so many
That's
friends
so
I've told
funny.
that to, yeah, and they're just like, "What?"
I feel like that if you hit the right generation of person, like that's what they know him for. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
Like
It's just-
I have a Luke Skywalker standee above my TV, just like looking down and judging what I'm watching always.
Judging you.
Yeah, he's like, is that Star Wars? It should be.
I was gonna say he does
Right
have
off
sort of an,
TLC.
well, I was gonna say that Luke does have sort of like an approving look on his face, though. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a yes,
It may not be Star Wars right now, but it will be. Later.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Star Wars has a new. That's embargoed. I can't talk about it.
No.
Yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, speaking of Star Trek Beyond, they announced a big deal. They're going to be having their world premiere down at San Diego Comic-Con, preview night. Tickets were already given away at a fan event they had over at
I
Paramount. It's going to be on the
Yeah.
giant IMAX screen
so mad
outside.
I'm not going.
Oh, you're not going?
Well, I'm going to. I'll
Oh.
be there on preview night, but I don't have a ticket to the event.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't been given out yet, so
Oh.
we're
But
gonna
they
see-
gave away some at that fan.
500.
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna say
Okay,
because
yeah.
I know I have friends that got tickets at that
Yep.
fan event.
Yep.
So
Apparently, they gave away about 500 tickets there. All those people probably won't go. Well, yeah, they were. Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah.
I know my friends that got tickets are gonna go. So
Did you
I feel
guys?
like they'll go or they'll sell them to someone who will go.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal. They're having the red carpet, full orchestra during the movie. They're having all the actors are showing up and walking the red carpet. J.J. Abrams, the director. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, the Fast and the Furious guy?
Yeah.
I'm totally drawing blank. It's
Lynn.
okay. I have my hand computer right here. So
Anyways, he's gonna be there. It's in the same exact spot where they did this big Star Wars concert and fireworks last year, which I've heard holds between 2,000 to 3,000, I think. Because, well, actually, no, I am wrong on that. Because it's got to hold more than that, because there were 6,000 people in the Star Wars presentation, and a big chunk of those, at least 4,000, walked outside.
it's Justin Lin, by the way.
Okay.
I know something Lin too, but
You know,
I
as soon as you
heard
said
Lin,
Lin,
and I just my mind
yeah.
went Lin-Manuel Miranda because like the Tonys are this weekend. So
Yes.
So we are trying to track down tickets. So
Yeah.
we have some friends that used to work over at Skydance.
Okay.
So let's
All
see
right.
if we can get in.
Listen, I'm doing press there. I mean, I'm doing press for AfterBuzz, and this is a movie, so it'd probably fall into the popcorn
Yeah.
talk jurisdiction. But we'll see. That could be flexible.
We would love to be there if you're watching right now. This is a big deal. This is probably one of the bigger things that Comic-Con has had.
Yeah,
they had a
for
premiere
sure.
a few years back. What was it? Cowboys and Aliens.
Yes.
Which was kind of cool. This seems like it's a little bit bigger, if
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
bigger, you know.
Yeah.
A bit.
And speaking of big, Conan is back. He's doing his
my
shows at
God.
Comic-Con this year. And if you go on to, you're going to be getting your tickets online at oneiota.com. That's
Yep.
the number one, a numeral one, IOTA.com. They've listed the shows. So
Yes.
they're getting ready. They're getting ready to start announcing these tickets. They have not been announced yet.
No.
So
I have a friend who literally her entire Twitter and Instagram the other day was just about how she wanted tickets to the show and how she couldn't get them last year and how like her life is going to end if she doesn't get to go this year. So
Last year was difficult.
yeah.
Did you try to get tickets?
No, I didn't.
I signed
Yeah,
up
we
like
did.
immediately.
Yep.
Did you guys get on?
no.
No, yeah, immediately
four of us
got
waiting.
waitlisted
Yeah.
and was like, okay, a waitlist. I must be near the
Yeah.
top. Clearly, nothing.
Sounds kind of like the Comic-Con hotel lottery this year.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I can't say anything.
But, Maria Marquis.
I'm no longer homeless. I'm good. I got it.
Oh, good,
It's under
good.
control. It's all under control.
But the wait list did open up last week.
Yeah.
And I got an email that said that I could have gone over to the Marriott Marquis, but they only for 3 of the nights. I needed 4 nights,
Yeah.
so that didn't really
Yeah.
work out for me. So which is another thing. They have opened up a number of hotel rooms. A number of hotel rooms have opened back up. Get back on the Comic-Con site onto the hotel part of the site. They are open. If you did receive, I think the wait list portion is probably over. That went just like
It
that.
said through the 10th you
Oh,
could
it did?
expect to receive an email. Yeah. I didn't, but fortunately I have friends that really care about me, so they helped me out.
Yeah, I had a waitlist one that was sent that had like 2 that I
Yeah.
declined because we had another one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that I think are waiting too and kind of figuring out which one. So I would say don't give up. Don't give up hope yet
Yeah.
if you haven't got one. If you're still waiting on a wait list, you could get it.
You know what bummed me out though? We got a downtown hotel. I was super stoked. So because of that, I said, I don't need to do the Ace parking sale this year. So that went, and then I find out that the hotel
Your hotel doesn't have
Hotel
parking.
doesn't have parking.
Yeah, mine doesn't.
That's
Mine
crazy.
has valet.
for $40 a night. Ours
Yeah,
has.
I think mine's 30, but yeah.
Shame,
yeah.
shame.
I know. Well, I'm just gonna take the train
I think that's what- we might
and
be
take an
taking the
Uber
train. Yep.
and just who really needs a car? I don't want one. Not in San Diego during Comic-Con. That's a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so that happened. So there's going to be all kinds of news coming out in the coming weeks. We have 6 weeks until Comic. We're close to 6 weeks of Comic. 6-ish, 5-ish weeks until Comic-Con. So the news is it's going to be coming fast and furious. So I encourage anyone who's watching, anyone who's listening, be subscribing to the podcast. We will have a few podcasts coming up. We're going to be talking about the offsites specifically. We're going to be talking about the offsites, the panels, things to do at Comic-Con. So there's a whole lot to do, and it's going to be exciting. I know that you guys are really, especially you were super excited about talking about the offsites.
Yeah, I mean, I just had so much fun at the offsites last year, and I mean, some of that was because there was the big carnival that was produced by Nerdist and Geek and Sundry and Smart Girls TV, and so that's Amy Poehler's Smart Girls, and I went to a lot of stuff over there. Funimation actually had a thing over there as well where you could like test your strength and see if you had Super Saiyan level powers. It was great. And then I'm friends with a lot of people who are involved in Critical Role over at Geek and Sundry's Twitch, and they had a panel, and it was just fun, you know? Like, I was going to panels in a baseball stadium. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
The
like-
adult swim stuff is always
Yeah,
so cool
yeah.
every year, too. And so I always encourage everybody to go and check that out. Because they had
That one was great. The great big
Free
tent,
T-shirts.
the free T-shirts.
yeah.
I got
Yeah.
my Rick and Morty, like, custom.
They did like the
So you can dig your
the
stuff.
zip line last year.
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
They have the big meat wad that you
Yeah.
go and, like, watch meat wad theater.
That's so ridiculous. I love that.
I didn't get to do it, but I really wanted to do the Assassin's Creed obstacle course.
Oh, I know. That looks so
So
cool. And I was just like, oh, there's such a line, and do I actually
Yeah.
have the guts to try this?
Yeah.
And I bought 4 tickets to the Carry On My Wayward Cocktails after show, after party
nice.
for
Yes.
the Supernatural. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Amazing.
That's
It's
hysterical.
really cool. And
I
the
love
tickets
it.
are on sale right now, and they includes food, drinks, prizes. The cast will be there. It's going to be a big deal. That's on Thursday night. And Thursday night is usually also when MTV has their fan awards out in the park. And I think they're coming back this year. I know that Nerd HQ is back. They have not released tickets yet, but that's going to be happening pretty soon over at the Children's Center. Nerdist, hopefully, we haven't heard what their plans are yet,
Yeah.
but we think they're going to be over there. Chris Hardwick, we know he's in town doing crazy stuff.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we know, too, that Screen Junkies is also doing a giveaway right now
Oh, yeah.
for tickets for San Diego. And it looks like they might have an offsite. They've suggested that they're going to have some special events. So we will see what that all entails.
That's, last year, was it last year? No, Wondercon was my first time. I hate to admit it. Sitting in a Screen Junkies panel.
Oh, that's
that was
hilarious.
pretty fun.
And I had more fun probably than any panel I've ever
Yeah.
been in. That was really great. Listen, let's go ahead and jump into the next stuff. There's all kinds of news coming down. Be checking out theconguy.com. We will keep you guys up to date on upcoming events, anything, especially with San Diego coming up in just a few weeks. But we want to talk about the amazing cons. We want to talk about where you guys have been, what you've been doing, especially you just got back from amazing Hawaii Con.
Yes.
What'd you think? How'd it go?
I mean, it was, at the end of the day, you're in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like, everything could go terribly wrong and you'd still be in
There's
Hawaii.
a picture of you guys right there.
Oh, yeah, that was from the kids' cosplay contest
Yeah.
on Sunday. That's another thing. I mean, we mentioned Heroes Con and how that's, a family-friendly con, and that's very much the amazing motto as well, is that it is very family-friendly, and Sunday is Kids' Day, so we always plan a whole bunch of events for kids and always conclude with the kids' cosplay parade, and it's really cute, and any kid that's in a costume or in a casual costume or just wearing a Hello Kitty t-shirt and wants to walk across the stage, they all get to come out and do that, and then they usually get little prizes and things like that. So
really cute.
Yeah, it was really cute.
And I saw some pictures of, like, you were on some panels, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was on, gosh, I can't even remember what panels I did now. It feels like it was so long ago. I moderated a Star Wars panel for one of the classic Star Wars artists, a man by the name of Rick Hoberg, who's now the storyboard artist on Transformers Robots in Disguise for Hasbro. He is like the coolest person ever. He's like my uncle. I adore him. And also Livio Ramondelli, who's been drawing some of the Star Wars variant covers, and he actually today, really big news, the new Blu-ray and DVD 30th anniversary release of the Transformers movie, Transformers the movie, the one from the 80s.
Yeah.
He actually drew the cover art for it.
Nice.
For the DVD and the Blu-ray. So I'm really excited for him, and he primarily works for IDW doing art for Transformers, and so I did a panel with him and Matt Nastos and Rick again, a guy from a kaiju podcast and a local artist by the name of John Murakami, who writes kind of a spoof of Power Rangers / sort of Voltron, where you have sort of a Super Sentai team that all have robots and they battle giant monsters that are terrorizing the earth. So we did a robots versus kaiju panel, which is always a total blast. And it was hilarious doing it too, because I kept bringing up things, and Rick, because Rick's been working in this industry for so long, he's like, "Oh, I did work on GoBots. I totally forgot about that." So yeah, it was a total blast. And then one of my favorite panels that I do at most of our shows now, along with Xander Jean Ray, who was a finalist on season 2 of King of the Nerds. he and I, like, at the end of the day, like, I like comics, but, like, really, I'm an anime kid. And he and I do this really fun panel called Super Anime Smackdown. There's a photo of it, actually, right there.
Nice.
And that was us. So Funimation has been kind enough to sponsor us for that panel for a couple of years now, coming up on a year now since we did it in Hawaii. Well, I guess Hawaii was September last year. So anyway, they're great. They send us stuff to give away. And basically it is a nerd debate panel where people in the audience raise their hands and they just defend their favorite anime character in a fight. It's super fun. In Hawaii, they're so much more tapped into Japanese culture than we are in mainland US. So I end up defending characters I have never heard of, and I just like throw mad shade, and it is so much fun. And the winners get prizes, and the losers get compensation prizes. So yeah, it's really fun. It's super high energy. It's lots of audience participation. So it's a total blast. And then I also was instrumental in booking a couple of guests that we had at our show, Sean Schemmel, who's the voice of Goku, and Chris Sabat, who's the voice of Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z. And they had a couple of panels that were very well attended. They were like, we don't really need a moderator. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm here if you need me. It's fine.
I'm sure you can handle it.
Yeah, there are certain people that need a little help to keep the audience interest. They are not amongst them. So yeah, it was a great time.
Oh man, I wish I could. Elena, what were some of your favorite things?
I got to do a couple awesome things. Probably one of my favorites, Kids Day, is always one of my favorite things because having a con that really caters to the family-friendly market is really, I think, something unique, and that's really cool. So in addition to the kids cosplay parade that we got to host, we also did something new this time that was a How to Draw for Kids panel, where we had Tony Fleece, who does My Little Pony, just a whole bunch of people who came out and taught the kids how to make their own art. So seeing all these little girls with their little stick figure ponies, bringing them up to Tony Fleece, being like, do you like it? And he's like, it's beautiful, honey. And just like, it was just amazing. So that was a really, really cool thing. And just all these kids were flipping out, and they made like 4 or 5 different things. And I had a family come up after, and they were like, you know, one of our favorite things that we do is we sit down and we have coloring time together. So having this with some of our favorite artists and having it as a big family event was just a really cool thing for us. And I was like misty-eyed the whole day, like, everyone's so sweet.
No, I was just going to say, that goes back to what I always love about conventions. It's all about the people you meet who love the same things and the way that you can convene together, you know? It's so cool.
It's so cool. Like, that's one of my favorite things. And that's also, I flippin' love all things Harley Quinn, so I got to do the moderate the DC ladies of Gotham Girls, basically the ladies of DC, with Chad Harden, who does a lot of the Harley Quinn comics, and Aunt Lucia, who does the Bombshell Harley, which is on my bed as a big bedspread right now. And I was like trying not to fangirl out while I'm like talking to him, and Clayman, who does X-Men and everything. So it was really cool because afterwards they like to go down and actually talk to the fans one-on-one too. So seeing all these Harley Quinn cosplayers walk up.
I'm assuming you were cosplaying that day for that, right?
You know, I think that day I was actually, we had the Power Rangers come, so I was in a Power Rangers dress that day, I think.
I see.
Yeah.
So if you got, I know that it's.
I hope you didn't miss anything, but that sounds really cool too.
Other than just pure numbers of people.
Yeah.
Like what's one of the draws of the amazing Hawaii Con and even the amazing Vegas Con coming up for you guys?
I would say the main thing for our conventions, or these conventions that we get to work for, that is so different from other ones that I've attended, is how much they push fan and guest interaction. Mm-hmm. I've never seen any other convention that, you know, you roll up Thursday night and if you're a VIP, you walk in, they hand you a drink ticket and they're like, hey, you're a fan of X-Men? Do you want to go hang out with Chris Claremont, who created all of your favorite characters?
And he was there, he was in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, just cheersing, like somebody in an Emma Frost t-shirt, and he's like, I made that, cheers. Like, it's crazy. It's like, where else do you get that experience that you're like, oh, and then I'll just walk down to the beach, and it's insane. It's one of those conventions that you're like, okay, the world is an amazing place.
Yeah, and I mean, the first show that Elena and I ever did with them was Las Vegas last year, and I just remember feeling like I was coming in as like a nobody just to help fill out programming, and I just was treated really, really well. I mean, because I've done panels at a lot of conventions, and not to say that like other shows don't treat their panelists this way, but it was like because I was doing panels, I was essentially treated like I was part of the guest roster, even though really I was just there to talk about nerdy things I like. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely a very family oriented sort of environment. I mean, Jimmy J, who is the promoter, who's been running these conventions for 7 years now, he basically, every time I'm like, oh yes, Jimmy, it's very nice working for you, he's like, no, you don't work for me, you're part of our team, you're part of our family. And I'm like, okay, all right, fantastic, because I always introduce him to people as my boss, and he's like, I'm not your boss. I was like, okay.
And isn't he's a comic distributor?
Yes,
as well,
he is.
right?
Yeah, for the J Comics company. He
So
and his brother.
He loves comic
He
books.
does, he does, yeah. And a lot of the artists who do our shows have been buying comics from him since they were children. So
I guess that helps to keep the focus squarely on comics, right?
yeah, it is definitely very comics focused. We're trying to expand a little bit in the kinds of things that in the kinds of guests that we're booking, but we're trying to always kind of link it back into comics. So for example, it's like we have a bunch of the Street Fighter voice actors, but we also have Joe from Udon who draws the Street Fighter comics. So
So how many years have the Amazing Cons been around
7
here?
years.
7 years.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's starting with just the Phoenix convention. The very first time they did it, the big event was that Robert Kirkman and many of the Walking Dead cast members were there, and they signed for free. We have grown a lot since then, as has Walking Dead.
Yes.
But Robert Kirkman came back,
did,
which
yep.
was pretty cool. He
Yep.
was kind of the guest
Wait,
of honor.
so they're starting Walking Dead. The TV show is starting season 7.
Yes.
So 7 years with Amazing
Yeah.
Cons.
Yeah.
That's kind
and
of
then
cool.
his new show, Outcast.
Outcast, yeah.
We got to premiere. We got to screen the episode
Oh, it was
there
screened
and
out there?
have
Cool.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman introduce it and talk to the fans, which was also crazy because one of the coolest cosplays I saw there was a Rick and Morty as
Really?
Rick and Carl. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they had their full Walking Dead Rick and Morty with big heads and everything they made with Robert Kirkman in the middle, just
That's too
amazing.
funny.
So, you have a
Did
question?
they incorporate any Hawaiian themes, or did they have Hawaiian food at all? Anything like
They
that?
had the Jurassic Park setup with the toilet.
Nice.
And then there were 2 people in inflatable T-Rex costumes that would come out and
Oh God.
That's awesome.
yeah, so I
Cool.
definitely got my toilet photo,
That's amazing.
my lawyer photo.
I just got my toilet photo. Yeah, let's rephrase that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say lawyer.
lawyer
We'll go with
photo,
lawyer.
Is there anything you can tell us about the Vegas convention coming up?
It's happening, you
Okay.
know. Actually, just announced. So Ken Levin, who's one of the producers on the TV show Preacher, is going to be at the show, and so we'll be doing some panels surrounding that. We'll probably be screening an episode and talking about some behind-the-scenes stuff, as well as showing some behind-the-scenes things, as well as giving away a free copy of Preacher #1 to, I believe, the first 100 attendees of that panel. So,
Have you guys seen that show?
Yes. I got to do the red
nuts.
carpet actually
Did
for
you really?
Popcorn Talk. So
Oh, nice.
we got to interview the cast and the producers and everything, and oh my gosh, the show is amazing. Watching it in
Seth
the big
Rogen.
theater
Seth
screen.
Rogen.
Yes.
I know,
Oh,
yeah.
That's
So
surprising.
good.
Yeah. And,
Well,
and
he
what
was
else?
he was just a huge fan of that show
Yeah.
for forever because originally HBO had the rights to it, and
Yeah.
then he was like, gimme.
So he's been chasing the
So,
show. He's been
yeah.
wanting to do that one, yeah.
For a long time, so now it's all kind of come together, and it's a really awesome show, and
That's nice.
it's kind of exciting to have the executive producer there to
And-
tell us more about it.
That's awesome. And then, what else about Vegas?
well, I mean, we have Chris Claremont again, so we'll be doing panels on his career, his life, talking also about X-Men Apocalypse with him, as well as Scott Lobdell, who was a writer on X-Men for forever. Anybody who was born in the 80s and you watched or read X-Men in the 90s, that was Scott that was writing those stories. And then we've also got Charles Soule, who's a really interesting writer. He's now writing the Poe Dameron comics, actually, for Marvel. So I'm very excited to talk to him about that.
That's great.
And then we have Street Fighter returning as well. So we'll be one of our events that we did for the first time in Hawaii that was extremely successful was a Street Fighter versus the fans panel, wherein when I emailed them about it initially, some of them wrote back and they're like, what is that? That sounds like the Thunderdome. And I was like, nah, basically is. And there was, in Hawaii, there was a little girl with turquoise hair who kicked everyone's butt. So I hope that we see a similar
They
occurrence.
play the game. We need
Yeah.
to specify
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they're not
they-
just physically fighting
No,
the
it's
fans.
yeah, it's like a Street Fighter V tournament against the voice actors. So,
And so Vegas
That's
comes
cool.
up It's real soon.
Yeah, June 17th through 19th at the
Yeah.
Las Vegas Convention Center.
And if people want to attend, what's the website? Do you know?
It's
AmazingLasVegasComicCon.com.
Yep.
Fantastic.
And they will have Kids Day there as well. And Matt Nastos, Phineas and Ferb, Liv and Maddie, and also Tony Fleece, My Little Pony, is going to be there giving free sketches away to the kids on Sunday too.
Nice.
So
That's so cool. So is that one also really interactive, like you were talking about with Hawaii?
Yeah.
very interactive. They
Yeah.
have after parties, and it's very much just people walking the floor and people coming up after the panels and very one-on-one. So it's a really, really cool one, especially for aspiring artists, because I've seen a lot of artists bring their portfolios, and it's one of the few times that they're not like, get out of here, kid, I don't have time for this. So it's kind of cool.
That's great. That's great. Well, listen, we can't wait to hear about it. Also, follow you guys on Twitter. You'll be keeping us up to
Yes.
participate in everything that's happening there.
Yeah.
And we are right before we jump in and talk to our special guest about ScareLA. Hey, Luke, can you tell us? We started something this week on theconguy.com that we are encouraging everybody to help out. I mean, to get involved with. What is it?
Yes, we started a 6-week challenge.
Oh.
Figured Comic-Con's getting close, and some of us still have that winter weight, or we don't look exactly like how we'd want to be for Comic-Con. So we decided to start a 6-week challenge. We put it on theconguy.com. So we're focusing on 4 things: eating better, eating smaller portions, sleeping better, and then the last one was exercise, which I was going to do today, but ran out of time because I had to do the show. But trying to do that 3 to 4 times a week.
And what's
so.
cool is we're not the only, we didn't dream this up, but we was like, okay, 6
Yes,
weeks.
we did.
Yes,
we
we
did.
100% your idea.
We
100%.
totally dreamed.
But if
You guys dreamed up the whole idea of fitness, actually.
Yes,
You
I came
invented
up
it.
with
can you
Right.
tell?
And
Can you
eating.
tell?
Eating too.
You're eating well. Yep.
But if you go on Twitter, there's a couple of hashtags. There's SDCC Fit. There's also hashtag ConFit. If you just follow those two, and there's hundreds upon hundreds of people that are doing the same thing, trying to get ready for this. If you go to our website, theconguy.com, we got a picture of the before and after of Chris Pratt.
Wow.
And then the comic book guy from The Simpsons. So, and then we're just encouraging everybody. You created a
Yeah, we also
spreadsheet.
have a spreadsheet we created that'll help you if you want to just kind of write things out. It kind of helps sometimes to see, oh, this is what I've been eating, drinking, how much I've been exercising, how much I've been sleeping. You can kind of just get a good overview. So if you'd like that document, we have all 6 weeks, and at the end is Comic-Con. So
When you're ready
feel
for
free to
Comic-Con.
check that out. And don't write directly on it because it's more for downloading.
Download
but
it,
you can
don't write
copy
there.
it into your own Google Drive and all that too.
If you write on this one, everybody that goes is going to see
Yeah.
your progress.
If you
or
want
lack
them to
of.
see
just
it,
don't want
yeah,
that.
go for it.
But like, and the thing that's interesting is like the reason we picked Chris Pratt. He was such a transformation from Andy
I
to
know,
Star-Lord.
but I still loved him as Andy.
Yeah. I gotta be honest. I like my Chris Pratt squishy. I like Andy better.
I think Anna Faris said the same thing.
We'll find that role again someday.
But also, we picked that just because it shows such a transformation, and he did in one of the things when he tweeted out, he goes, "Look, 6 months without beer." So we have
That
chosen.
sounds awful. Why would you ever do that to
I know.
yourself?
I know, but like, there's actually alternatives. We found a GQ magazine article, wine and liquor.
Okay.
If you want to lay off the beer, just switch over to wine and liquor.
Perfect.
It's great.
Great.
It's basically like doing a diet.
All right.
To know.
I sound like such a.
Love
And
soda.
if you drink wine, that also counts as your fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
intake.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
There
at
it
least a
is.
serving.
What
of
is
fruit,
this,
right?
exercise? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
All
Opening
right.
the bottle is exercise.
Yeah.
It,
If it's a big enough bottle, you're doing curls.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 6 weeks. You got 6
Costco.
weeks to Comic-Con. Then you're going to be walking a marathon while you're there. So actually, in all honesty, eat right, get your sleep, get ready, because it is a marathon. It's going to wear you out. It wears me out every year. And we, and Elena, you gave us some good tips on what to bring, the type of shoes, the type of things to bring to when you come to Comic-Con. Make sure you check that article out as well. So we'll be talking about that as we get closer. But right now, we want to introduce our special host today. Our special guest. This is Lora. Lora, how do you say your last name one more time?
Ivanova.
Ivanova. That's a great last name.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And you are the founder and the executive director for ScareLA, which is an awesome convention I've gone to for 3 years now. And tell us a little bit about the convention.
So the convention started in 2013. It really was an evolution of my background, which began in kind of horror theater and haunt-style entertainment, and then went into the Haunters World Convention, so HauntCon, which is the longest-running professional haunters convention in the U.S., and kind of seeing the behind the scenes and seeing the convention world and having been in that space for a long time, I started really thinking about what if we brought the creators of these amazing attractions and the fans in the same place and have them interact, have them exchange ideas, have them inspire each other, have them support the next generation of creators that are going to be up and coming and hopefully terrifying us for years to come. And so ScareLA really was born out of kind of that initial spark, making something for all ages that can be both really extreme for those who love that, but also super family friendly, and ultimately capture the spirit of Halloween and throw it right smack in the middle of the summer. So that's what it is.
Well, okay, why is it in the summer then? Like, it seems like you're going to have this kind of a convention. When my first thought was, why is this happening in the summer? I think I have it figured out.
Because they put decorations out in September, right?
Yeah.
They
Well, I mean,
start
they
like getting ready.
Well, it's two things. I mean, first of all, there's already so much happening in October. So,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a shame to have to wait entire 12 months until the next time you get to experience Halloween. So what we really were looking to do is extend that celebration. You know, now you have a 3-month Halloween season versus before it was just maybe a month or less.
That's true.
So this is one thing we did. The other thing is that really this is the time when all theme parks and creators are starting to, right before they dive into the big builds, or some of them, depending on who they are, they've already are halfway through it. But it's a good time for them to start talking about what they're planning to do, because A, they know what they're doing. B, they have the plans, and now they're able to start creating some buzz. The fans on the other side, perfect timing to learn how to do crazy costumes, how to start shopping for especially if you're going to do a more elaborate cosplay around Halloween, and get ready. So we found kind of the peak time to really get started on Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween Horror Nights gets earlier and earlier every single year. So to
They
me,
are.
I'm like, oh, it's like a month before Horror Nights starts. That's the exact right time to do
Yeah, it
it.
starts in September this year.
Yeah, that's been starting in September for years now, but it just keeps getting earlier and earlier. But yeah, I mean, and you know, just increasing the number of dates that they have in September as well. And so from my point of view, it makes total sense, because as you say, it's like you're getting to a point where they know more or less what everything's going to be, and they're also in a position where they're actually allowed to talk about what's going to be happening, because it's the exact right time to start really like getting people amped about these events.
Absolutely.
And I've been the past couple of years, and some of my favorite panels that I've been to, I loved the Universal Studios and the Knott's Berry Farm panels. Like last year, Universal, and that's why I wore the shirt. And like we talked about it, they had the greatest presentation about the history of Halloween, the making of the film, as they were talking about coming up with the haunted house they were developing for Universal Studios there. Can you talk about like your relationship with the theme parks and how that came about?
It's when you're in that space for many years, I mean, you end up running into pretty much, it's a small world. No matter how huge these theme parks are, it's actually a fairly small community of people that are really knee deep into production of these attractions. So Knott's Scary Farm and Horror Nights have been part of ScareLA since our first year, and actually we were extremely excited that they joined us that early on and took a chance on a show that was tiny and just had a big vision and a lot of ambition, but we really didn't have anything to show yet. So it really kind of shows you that they're very eager to connect with that community, and that was really what resonated to them, is that's what we were looking to do, and the fan response has been tremendous. I mean, the fact that people are already, we just announced both Horror Nights and Knott's last week, and I mean our social media blew up. There were so many fans that were already ready to go, show us what's next. So they found it to be a very valuable platform for them to really kind of kick off their seasons.
I'm
you
really
guys-
hoping. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and you guys have like a like programming track that's like focused on workshops, correct?
We have an education track.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have actually anything from historically, we've had things like how to do creepy magic tricks.
Oh, cool.
Cooking for Halloween, how to come up with a costume from household materials.
That's awesome.
Anything down to animatronics or how to run a haunted house if you wanted that.
Yeah.
Marketing if you wanted to do an independent horror film. How do you get in the industry, but also how do you have fun with your friends?
Yeah.
It was really like the last couple of years. I was just really impressed because a lot of the attractions around Southern California and even further, they set up haunted houses. They shut all these. There were like what 8, 10 of them last year. Experienced all of them.
Oh yeah, that are like independent of a theme park experience
Correct.
where you can actually
Absolutely.
go out. Yeah.
And it was part of the convention. You got to go through all these haunted houses and everything, and that was really, really great. And then there was all these workshops about fabrication, workshops about how to do this. Like as far as cosplay, they had makeup schools galore there, and like some of the pictures that that we sent in, I don't know if we saw them, but like these people sitting in the chair for hours and this elaborate cosplay being done. So this is really, it seems like a Halloween industry type event where the fans are invited.
It is,
Yeah.
and we bring everybody. We bring because ultimately Halloween is about everything from jack-o'-lanterns to horror movies to getting dressed up in costumes to theme parks to haunted houses to theater shows. It's become so many things that it's kind of we really try to bring everybody together and throw them in and see what magic takes place. And this year we are, you mentioned the haunted houses. We're going to basically have double the number of haunted experience
That's
on site.
awesome.
So we're going to have over 10
nice.
this year. We're going to have even more games and interactive items. Like last year we had a zombie infection game.
Yep.
This year, since we have a witch theme, so we're going to be casting dark spells on all of our attendees. And we're going
Nice.
to have multiple thousands of attendees playing a game in real time with each other.
Nice.
And a group of cosplayers from Real Guys who are really tremendous. And they're going to be bringing some really dark stuff to ScareLA.
And you have a screening program going right now, and I'm looking at some of the films right now. Tales of Halloween.
Yes.
The Blackout Experiments. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark is
Yes.
The Nightmare. What else? Sliders of Ghost Town.
Creature of the Bates Motel. We're going to have Carrot Top and Brian Evans at ScareLA.
Seriously?
That's
Yes.
fantastic.
Now, Elvira, she.
Elvira, yes. Elvira is our official horror host. So
Yes.
for the first time
Wow.
ever,
That's
we actually have
perfect.
an official host for ScareLA. And what better person to be our first than her? And she's going to be there for both days of the event. On Saturday, she's going to appear as Elvira, and she'll be doing photo shoots. So anybody can now book online their personal photo with Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. This is also the last time Elvira will be or Cassandra Pearson will be appearing as Elvira at a convention on the West Coast.
Really?
So if you want to have a photo with her and get that photo signed, this really ScareLA really is the place to be. We're very excited to be working with her this year, and she will be Cassandra Peterson or herself on Sunday, and she will be mingling with guests, doing meets and greets. You'll have an entire area of the show floor just dedicated to her amazing career, where you'll be able to play pinball games and buy merchandise and just ultimately meet her face to face. And that's really the most thrilling part of it.
And there's a masquerade as well, right?
We have a costume party on Saturday night, but I mean, the entire weekend is a masquerade, I would say. But Saturday night, we've actually we have a brand new venue for our party. We haven't announced that yet, but it's going to be kind of a rock and roll, really cool space that
Nice.
we've secured, and it's a costume party. We expect about 1,500 people at least to attend, and we have some really amazing acts that are going to be showing up there as well.
There's also a convention floor there. Like I went there like last year and everything, and of course it's good to bring cash because they will bargain, and they did bargain.
Cash or plastic,
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
you can pay with, trade for favors.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have, I mean, this is our biggest year, so we've actually almost doubled our show floor space. We've taken
wow.
over the
That's
other side of the
awesome.
convention center. So show floor, interactive experiences. We're going to have a horror museum that you can walk through with some
Very
amazing
cool.
props from favorite films.
Yeah.
We're going to have some of our biggest mazes this year as well. So we're actually not only growing the numbers of them, but we're also growing them in size.
I was
And-
surprised with even just like it would seem like it's about the size of this room, but it's like I
But
feel
yeah,
like
it
I've
takes
been
you
going
like 2 hours
yeah.
to go through.
Yeah, it's like crazy how much you can pack in just
Yeah.
through like, all right, you're zipping around
Yep.
this way, and it's like, wow, I feel like I went through a whole maze, and it's like felt like it was the size of a refrigerator box.
Yeah,
but
and there's
like,
going to be some really innovative mazes, like the rope, for example, is basically you you're completely close your eyes, and then you're grabbing on this rope and you're going through this space, and you don't even know where you are. Things are happening to you.
Oh my gosh.
In the dark. And that's really, so there's sensory deprivation, but there's also obviously kind of a traditional maze that you can walk through. There's going to be some really creative experiences. We're going to have a VR experience in which you will be able to go through and go on the most notorious dark rides in the world in VR. So you will be able to be on a roller coaster right at ScareLA.
Nice.
Awesome.
I also like Zombie Joe. They did this really cool thing with all the lights off, and they did like a performance piece, and it was like the lights would come back on, and you'd have a zombie just staring at you right in your face, and then the lights would go off, and then it was bizarre.
Yeah,
it was
didn't
really...
someone like spit in the other person's mouth or something?
No, that did not happen.
No, not at ScareLA.
No, he means like the performers.
The performer.
Get out of here.
Doesn't that happen every day? It happened to me the other day. I was walking down the
did,
street
they
and somebody
did.
spit in my mouth.
That's just an extra treat.
That's just LA.
Free.
Yeah.
Now, which of these things do you need to sign up for beforehand on the website versus just show up and it's there?
The photo ups definitely sign up in advance because we expect a long line, and the sooner you get your ticket, you can just basically line up earlier. All the interactive experiences, the film screenings, they are included in the price of your admission. Horror museums, galore, everything. The only thing that, in addition, you need to sign up for is the classes and the photo ops, as well as some of the gameplays, like the interactive, because we need to make sure we have enough badges for everybody. But other than that, pretty much you have 4 different choices of ticket passes that give you different kind of ease of navigation of ScareLA. General admission, obviously, you get to pretty much do everything. Except for the classes and the exclusive experiences. You have Fear Freak, which gives you preferred seating. So if you kind of don't like lines, or you have something specifically you want to go see and you want to make sure you make it into the room, Fear Freak is the way to go. Scare Student gives you access to all of the classes. And the reason why I've separated it, just so we can make sure that we provide you the best experience possible. So we'll be following up with you. We'll be giving you an interactive schedule that you can book each of your classes so you know what you're doing each of the days of the event. And then the VIP monster, they walk away with some amazing swag and free t-shirts, and they get treated pretty nicely during. So if you like to be pampered, probably that's the way to go.
There are front of the line passes for the haunted houses and all that included with that?
So Fear Freaks, Scare Students, and VIP Monsters get preferred admission to the haunted houses as well, to pretty much any experience on site.
Yeah.
But everybody has access. It just makes it easier for us to kind of manage the crowds.
Nice.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Nice.
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I just love having Halloween in the middle of August. I just think it's the way to kick off your season, and I am super hoping that Universal Studios because they've got this year, is it Exorcist? They have an Exorcist maze.
That
they're
has
gonna
been
be doing.
officially announced, yes.
That is officially official.
Yes.
So.
Okay. I hope. I love the way they did Halloween last year. If they bring Exorcist this year, I will just be one happy camper. That is for sure.
Well, also Halloween was filmed in Pasadena,
Yeah.
so that was part of the big kind of. They were so excited when they found out about our new venue, is because oh my God, this fits so great. So they haven't told us yet what exactly they're going to talk about, but I'm sure it's going to be super amazing. And there's no other way around it. And then they've had a tremendous year. I mean, a Walking Dead experience is going to be launching on July 4th. So I think there's really going to be a lot of behind-the-scenes stock that we're super thrilled about.
That's cool. So where can we get tickets?
ScareLA.com. Head on over today. Get your tickets. Some of these past categories are going to sell out, so we are expecting almost double our attendance this year. We had about 10,000 people last year.
Nice.
So head on over and get your tickets, especially photo ops and everything else that might run out. You want to get those early.
Cool.
Cool.
Laura, thanks for joining us
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
week
Thank
on
you
the Guy
guys.
Comic-Con Prep Show. That is all we have this week, folks. Where can we find everybody else?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Elena Jordan, ALANAJORDAN, and on Instagram at That Elena Jordan Girl. And while you're here on the Popcorn Talk YouTube page, click on DC Movie News for today, too. See me talking about the new Suicide Squad trailer.
Nice.
I'm Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe.
I'm Derek Sams. You can find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek.
I am Jim. You can find me, Conguy Jim, and you can also find us on theconguy.com, theconguy.com on Twitter as well.
ScareLA. Find us at Scare Los Angeles on Twitter. Also, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and pretty much any other channel you can think of.
And I'm Luke Cheeseman. You can find me at ConGuyLuke on Twitter. And you can also go to theconguy.com.
All right, that's all we got this week as we go out with the music from The Exorcist. This is awesome. All right,
Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Talk Network. We would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.